Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final installment of this podcast. I have with me today two very special guests. Let's see, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm Ben Reese, and I'm the artist and the designer of Team Colorblind in the United States. We're making a game called Aztez. It's a really super technical action game, and I've written a lot of articles on action games, and I'm just thinking about this stuff all the time, and so I'm super happy to be here.
You live and breathe this stuff, basically.
Yeah, just I get paid to think about it, which is amazing, and I'm so grateful for that.
Awesome. That's exactly why I got you here.
Yeah.
And my second guest?
Hi there, this is Saurian Dash. I'm an action game player who's been on YouTube since around 2006. I just love these games, basically, and quite a few people know me for putting up really nerdy, obsessive videos of just me fighting.
Yeah, they're so good.
Kind of an understatement here. I mean, you've worked with PlatinumGames as well, and you're, interviewed with them and whatever.
Oh yeah.
You worked pretty closely with the industry for a couple of years now.
I did get some opportunities, it was a huge amount of fun. Really grateful. I worked on some official guides for a German publisher. Got interviewed by PlatinumGames themselves regarding some work I did on YouTube for The Wonderful 101. And just really amazed at the response that I've been getting.
So yeah, I'm really pleased to have you both on here. I think we're going to have a really good discussion today.
Yeah, thanks.
But I guess, just briefly, let's talk very quickly about Bayonetta 2. This podcast, by the way, is not strictly speaking about Bayonetta 2. We're going to talk about more cool things. But Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2. Yeah, let's quickly get your opinions on that.
I barely even remember Bayonetta 2. Seriously.
That was a couple of years now, wasn't it?
I played through it once and I was like, I'm never ever playing this again. Seriously, it was so disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really interesting to me because a lot of the Bayonetta 1 fans I knew, and it's not like there's a ton of them, they were kind of split because like half of them were just super stoked that there was a new Bayonetta and that they were just scared it wasn't going to happen. And they were so excited that they didn't really care about its flaws, and the other half were kind of in Saur's camp, where it's like, yeah, this is not nearly as good as the first one, and I'm bummed out and kind of frustrated and mad. So, yeah, it's kind of fascinating to see what ended up happening with it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely split, I guess, the fan base, so to speak. I mean, Bayonetta 2 brought a lot of new fans to the series, who didn't necessarily, I guess, appreciate Bayonetta 1.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And the Wii U thing was interesting because it's like a huge amount of the people that were like playing the first one all the time and were happy to buy it, they weren't necessarily there. They didn't necessarily have Wii U, so they really was like in the face of a almost new group of people, which is interesting to think about.
Like, I kind of struggle with the changes they made in Bayo 2, because to me it's quite squarely changes they made to appeal to casual people.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like they're really...
kind of...
Sorry, say again?
No, sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it just feels like they've massively front-loaded it. The front end is, on the surface of it, amazing, and it looks amazing and it feels amazing. But as soon as you try to break through that, the game just falls apart.
Yeah.
But we've already covered this, unfortunately, so I don't think we're going to need to have another conversation about this. But it's a good sort of segue into, I guess, the future of action games. Like, we sort of see the progression here of Bayonetta 1 to Bayonetta 2, appealing more to casual players. Is this possibly the future of action games?
Oh my gosh. I hope not, because I very strongly believe that it's perfectly possible to present an action game in such a way that it's very easily accessible, but the back end of it, if you want to go there, is absolutely amazing, and Bayonetta is a perfect example of this. Another game that's come out recently is Transformers Devastation. That's another one. On the surface of it, it seems really simple, but as soon as you start breaking through, you realise, hang on a minute, these guys are really pushing the boundaries here. They're doing stuff with their own mechanics and they're pushing their mechanics in directions that you didn't expect them to. And like in a game like Transformers as well, you expect this to be a casual focused game, but it's not. This game is ridiculously nerdy on the back end, like ridiculously complex, and I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, you're digging quite a lot into that game.
Oh
I haven't
my god,
touched
that
it
game is so
myself.
good. It's so good.
Yeah, it is surprisingly very, very good. Like I was, and you know, it's Platinum. Like we all feel like, you know, very strongly about them, but like Cora was kind of a disappointment, and so I'm sitting here going like, okay, it's their licensed team. They're doing this because they need to sustain themselves, and it makes sense. But when I snapped into it, I was just like, whoa, they took this seriously, like very, very seriously, and
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Deadly serious, that game. Serious. I think it's, for me, it's the greatest thing they've come out with since the original Bayonetta. I think the game is just
Wow,
amazing.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely
I
amazing.
think I might have to give it a shot then.
Oh, please.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
so good.
Yeah, I would love to watch you play it
Yeah,
because like it's definitely a stylistic game, and that it just the different people that play it have different play styles, and no one looks the same rocking it, which is amazing.
Oh, okay. It does, yeah, like you said on the surface, it does appear to be a very simple game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's interesting. Okay. I keep hearing different things about it, so... okay. I guess let's look at sort of more into the future, you know, like what is in the future for action games, stylish action games?
I'm honestly, and like I'm generally kind of optimistic about this stuff, but I'm not super worried about it in the near future. I mean, my whole thing is that like, and I'm 31, so like my age group, we grew up in the arcade, you know, and it's like the beat 'em up experience, the hardcore action game experience, like that's in our identity whether we like it or not, and I don't like until we can't play games or can't afford them for whatever weird reason, like they're not really gonna not be successful. I mean, like if you average out like the sales pools for all of like the big beat 'em ups, you know, God of War, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, whatever they may be, like they come out to a couple million. Like there's always a couple million people ready to just buy any new great action game. I do think we are going to keep seeing weird branches. I mean, kind of the way like free-to-play changed action games. Like you've got all these bizarre free-to-play action games that are built on this hardcore stuff, but it's actually under the surface like very, very different. Like Saur saying, the back end's not there. And so I'm not super worried about it like in the near term, but yeah, it's going to be weird watching all these branches happen. And I think like PlatinumGames making licensed games is a weird branch too, because like you would assume, okay, it's a licensed game, they're bad, but like they're actually committing real resources to this. I would assume based on Transformers and how good it was, but yeah, it's weird. Like I don't think the near future's bad, but we'll see what happens like when our generation kind of stops playing games for whatever reason.
Couple more decades then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like there's no immediate threat, but it is something weird to think about. Like, hopefully we don't get alienated before then. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it happened with first-person shooters, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, apart from sorry.
No, I was
Saur,
going to
go
say
on.
is like on the studio side, I think a huge amount needs to be done to maintain an audience, because what I'm seeing at the moment is that, especially with Platinum, they don't tell anybody how amazing their games are, and I have a serious problem with that. I think they really need to shout that message. They just seem to put something out and then expect it to work, and it's you know, and it's frustrating watching them do it. Like Transformers, the game tells you nothing about itself. Platinum don't tell you anything about the game. Like I'm like I think 200 hours in, and I'm still finding more stuff. They've packed so much game into this thing, it's ridiculous. But they haven't said a word about it.
Mm-hmm. I totally, like, one of the weird things that happened with Bayonetta 1 was I remember, like, writing a big combat analysis on it and being like, there's so much stuff here. How am I supposed to figure all of this out on my own? It would take years. Like, it would take years of playing all the time. And that's actually when I discovered your guide. It was like, okay, thank God this exists, because, like, I do not have the resources to dig through this game. And, it's super frustrating. I completely agree with that. Like, they need to have a better relationship with marketers who can say, this is amazing, you should play it. Like the way the God of War people do. Like, they've always killed it there. 4 million people buy any God of War labeled thing anytime it happens. And so, yeah, they really need that. I completely agree.
Yeah. They need to do more. A lot more. Because that's the thing that I fear. That because so few people talk about this, it's not an ongoing conversation. So that when they do come out with something new, it misses the mark. I think that's what happened with The Wonderful 101, and to some degree with Transformers as well. People don't realise what kind of games they are. People think they're really simple, casual kiddie games, but they're not.
Sure.
They're ridiculously deep. Both of them.
Well, I mean, I guess this kind of goes into a deeper problem with the gaming media, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
I mean, particularly with the Wonderful 101, I know there was some issues there.
Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. Seriously. It was absolutely ridiculous. It's like, if a game challenges them, if a game makes them think, I mean really think, you know what I mean, and actually puts them in a position that says, look, you're not going to be the best at this game in an hour. You're going to have to put some time in if you want to get something out of it. As soon as they see that, they seem to clam up and they get all defensive and they just absolutely slate the game for no reason. And it winds me up no end. I can't stand it when they do that. They did it to Godhand, they did it to Beautiful Joe, they did it to what else? Wonderful 101. So many games where they just completely misrepresented it. And I think they are doing a huge amount of damage to game design as a whole, because we're in a situation now where games can't challenge you. You know what I mean? If it makes you feel somehow that you've lost, or you know what I mean, or something like that, where it makes you feel like you're not good enough yet, that's become wrong. And I don't like that, because games were never like that when I was growing up. I grew up in the arcades, you know what I mean? I'm coming up 40, and like, those games used to punish you, constantly punish you, but because of that, that's what drove friendships, that's what drove the community, that's what drove like a collective effort to master these games. And like, all the close friends I have, I met in arcades, you know what I mean? Like, and we still know each other now, and the arcades are long gone, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the glue that can hold a community together. You know, like the fighting game community, for example. They've got like a shared vocabulary. They've got like a shared experience. They feel like they're all part of something. That's what I feel this genre needs. It needs that. And instead of like for the longest time, I've been bitterly complaining about how Platinum don't tell anybody about their games. What I'm thinking now is that we should use that to our advantage. We should now use that to drive a collective effort to understand these games. You know what I mean? Do more on YouTube. Do more, like, for instance, I'm doing something at the moment where I am trying to arrange like a collective written resource that people can come in and use as they see fit. I've got myself and a few friends at the moment writing that, and we're going to open it up and we're going to cross-promote YouTube, each other's YouTube channels, and anybody else that wants to get involved, they can come in. And we're going to try and centralize it, and we're going to try and just break these games apart and have it all there in writing. And whoever wants to use it to promote these games on YouTube or whatever, or even just to learn these games to get better, it's there for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and that's a really good point about the shared language. Like, if a new fighting game comes out and it's not like immediately understandable, because I think that was the Wonderful 101 issue, is that like it's hard to look at it and know what it is and like what you're playing. But if that would happen in the fighting game community, like everyone would be able to communicate with each other. Like the designer could step into a message board and say, well, this is what the game is, sorry if it doesn't make more sense. It would make sense to the community can then talk about it, and then you wouldn't have like these kind of like question mark disasters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, Transformers really is an eye-opener, because the game is so amazing, and yet nobody seems to know about it, and it drives me mad, because I'm seeing these amazing designs, and I see the amount of work that's gone into it, and it's like nobody knows about it. This is crazy, you know? Like,
yeah, it's so confusing. Like, I don't remember seeing it anywhere. Like, I think the only reason I knew about it, like, before it hit, I think that first Kotaku article or whatever, is because, like, I was just already following PlatinumGames on Facebook and Twitter, like, just to be safe.
Yeah,
I think that's the only reason I knew about it. And, yeah, I've had the same experience where I've encountered people, big action game fans, and they're like, wait, what? When did that happen? So, yeah, that's... I cannot fathom how that possibly happens.
It's amazing. Seriously, it's amazing. And they've got all these... The thing is, there are people out there who are capable of promoting these games, but they're not being utilised, you know? Like, for instance, like, in the fighting game community, you've got people like Maximilian, and on our side, you've got people like Yoshes, who have a following, who have an audience, who can reach people, but they're not being utilised. I just think it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there definitely is a sort of a lack of dialogue between, I guess, the developers, in this case, PlatinumGames, their fans or people who can promote them.
Definitely.
I mean, I honestly would have thought with all my content I would have been something by them, but nothing. Absolutely
Seriously.
nothing. Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely nothing.
If I was working in marketing, like people like yourself, they would be top of the list because you are communicating directly to the people who are going to buy this game, and they are going to communicate this to their friends and so on. You know, it's just, I just find it amazing that they don't use this avenue.
I guess it is kind of a change in the traditional methods of like getting your information out there, though.
Yeah.
It's still something I think is kind of emerging in this day and age.
They need to be on
Like
it.
how, yeah, because people don't get all the information from, you know, gaming channels or gaming reviews these days. It's from YouTube or from friends or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's a much it plays a much bigger role than it used to.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
There is a different dynamic now. I mean, like, it's almost like PlatinumGames, especially, they expect the gaming press to be able to communicate their games, and I don't think the gaming press are reliable anymore. I think what they need to do is concentrate on the new dynamic that's happening, and that's YouTube and social media. I think that's far more powerful, and a strong audience, a strong core audience, will slingshot the game. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what the gaming press think at that point. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
like if a new Street Fighter came out and IGN rated it badly, would it do anything for the game's success? No, nothing. Because the game already has an audience, you know what I mean? I think that's what needs to happen here.
And I'm kind of worried, like, and I completely agree with everything. I'm a little worried that, like, it might be an issue of, like, we've got, like, the previous generation of Japanese businessmen upstairs at Sega Nintendo Platinum that, like, aren't really kind of aware of how this works now. And that's fine. It's not like this is an old school thing. Like, this is a very, very new emergence. But yeah, I'm kind of worried that they don't think about that. Like because all of the other developers that I know, and most of them are independent, granted, but they're all sitting there going, like, I don't care what IGN says. Like, I want streamers, I want people on YouTube, like, I want the visual word of mouth that service that these, like, you know, performers provide. And I'm just super worried that, you know, upstairs at these, like, ancient Japanese companies, I know Platinum isn't ancient, but these are all, like, veterans, like, you know, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, that just might not know about this at all. And that's scary, but, I mean, nothing else makes sense, you know?
Yeah, nothing else makes sense. That's the best way to put it. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's so
look at Konami. Look what's going on with Konami. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't hope for better promotion for Silent Hills. You couldn't hope for anything better. And they squandered it. They threw that away, regardless of what was going on internally. That is ridiculous. You know? Like, I can't believe that happened. It makes zero sense. Like, I work in the film industry, and I'm telling you, in Hollywood, that would never happen. It didn't matter if people were at each other's throats at the studio. The film would still happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, yeah, see, I wish we can get, like, an old Japanese marketer just to be like, what is the thought process over there? Like, illuminate us, because it feels like there's something we're missing, you know?
Yeah, something we're missing. I don't get it. Whatever it is, I don't get it. But there's something.
Just out of curiosity, like, do you guys have any specific theories on what happened with Wonderful 101?
Like what?
Just, like, why it didn't catch, like, why it never ended up taking, because, like, the reason I'm asking is because it didn't catch for me initially. Like, I didn't care about it, even though I love Platinum, I love Kamiya's games, until your videos, Saur. Like, I didn't... It took me watching those and listening to someone say, here's exactly why it's cool, to catch on to it. And I'm wondering if it's just that everywhere, if you guys think it might have been something else entirely. Because I wasn't paying attention. It didn't grab me.
See, that's the thing. Wonderful 101, I think, is an extreme example of what I'm talking about. The game doesn't tell you a thing, and they don't tell you
diddly,
a
I'm
thing.
sorry. and having the dodge and the block move in the shelf is kind of annoying, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm honest. I put in like almost 200 hours into that game, and I'm still trying to get into it. I put in a lot of time to that game, and it hasn't quite clicked for me yet.
Sure.
Like,
Interesting.
I like
Okay.
Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Like, and that you think at some point after you put in so many hundreds of hours that it should click, and then it's like, yes, I understand this game now. I want to get better at it.
Yeah,
but
totally.
for me, it was still kind of frustrating because for me it was mostly the minigame sections that completely killed it for me.
Yeah.
The core gameplay is fantastic. I love it, but having it peppered in between these really annoying choose screen and gimmick parts really annoyed me.
Yeah,
but that's
sure.
me personally.
Yeah, it was the same for me as well. I do love the fighting, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the rest of it, I don't normally play games like that, so I'm just trying to get past them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I think... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it sounds like it might be one of those things where it might have been too weird even for us. Like, for the kind of people who are like, I want to mutilate the Bayonetta system and find out everything that's inside of it. Like, that might have been too weird for even brains like ours. So. Now that we're all saying it out loud, I'm like, well, of course that's what it was. Like, if it's too weird for us, it's going to be too weird for, the God of War crowd or the Dark Souls crowd or
I do feel like Wonderful 101 was rather extreme in how it punished players, I think.
Sure.
It was like the sort of... It was just top tier Kamiya in every way.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to summarize it, was really basically top tier Kamiya.
Yeah, definitely.
Over the top, too much dialogue, cutscenes, fan service everywhere, and just punishing the player to no end.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But I think they've really answered a lot of those questions with Transformers. Transformers is almost like the mirror opposite of that. On the surface level, it feels so good to play, and then the more you get into it, and then the more you realise the reasons why they've designed all these things the way they have, it gets better and better and better, and it feels better the better you get at it, and it's not finicky, and it's not fussy like Wonderful 101. There's so many things to manage, and there's so many different variables going on all at once. But Transformers, the message that it gives to the player is just fight hard, really hard, and the harder you go, the better score you get. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really simple on the surface, but when you get into it, it is crazy deep, that game.
Yeah. I like to think that, because I agree with that, I like to think that they look at that and go, okay, we did it this way so that it makes sense, it's accessible, anyone can pick it up, but it is really deep, and go, all right, that made sense, let's keep doing that. But I'm actually not really sure how Transformers has done. Like, I would assume not great, because I don't know a ton of... Yeah, because, I mean, even out of, like, my little community of action game fans, like, not a lot of them even knew about it, so that kind of freaks me out.
I do know that the 4chan Cuhrayzee Games community, hi guys, has sort of written off the game.
Really?
As not like a real action game, which is probably partly why it's not really picked up momentum as well. Admittedly, it's a very small community, but
sure.
Yeah, right. It's been sort of discarded as a potential Cuhrayzee game, so to speak.
Does that strike you as them discarding it, like, before giving it a chance, or did these people play it and then they weren't into it? Just out of curiosity.
I guess it's because of the it's on that surface level, like, it appears too simple. That was probably why.
Okay, right, yeah, okay, so they're looking at it and assuming there's not much to it, which is fair.
Yeah, like, I know people like Mike Cobb have said, it plays just like a knockoff Bayonetta, I believe, which is probably why they didn't really put too much thought into it.
I wonder if that's like a turnoff for people, because, like, these licensed games are obviously the Bayonetta engine. Like, I look at it and go, okay, like, this is a very similar input scheme. It's clearly like that animation tech. But I guess for me, that's not a problem. It's like, okay, cool, they're building new things on top of this, like, really, really high-quality action game engine. And, I wonder if that just kind of turns the average, like, casual action gamer totally off. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, I've never thought about that either. But yeah, you're right. It is at the core of it. It is Bayonetta, but they've also, like you say, they have built loads of really interesting things on top of it. Like in Transformers, they've actually extended the witch time mechanic. They've applied the offset system to the parry, and if anybody who's deeply into Bayonetta understands what I'm talking about, parry no longer stops your current flow. It doesn't stop the sentence. You can keep going. You can actually offset combos through parries. You can chain additional instances of focus or witch time. It's the same thing. But these slow time little flashes that you get, you can actually chain them together. by timing your attack inputs to coincide with the last frame of witch time or focus. If that attack comes out on the last frame and there's an enemy attack's hit frames actually contacting your character, you will get another instance of focus. So it's like really interesting stuff they've got going on, like ridiculously, really, really crazy stuff with inputs. Like they've done really, really deeply. Oh man, it's so hard to describe. But you can buffer your inputs in such a way that you can make more things happen that don't normally happen. If you know what I mean. It's so difficult to describe, but we're trying to write it up at the moment. It's just, oh my god, trying to get it out into words is nuts. But like, yeah, they've gone in with that game. They've got really crazy stuff going on.
It sounds like it's an interesting extension to the base, I guess, Bayonetta 1 gameplay, which makes me wonder if there is a Bayonetta 3 in the works, and if it's going to take on any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. I'm sure they are. I'm sure that they will one day.
Like, I always lament the changes they made in Bayo 2 because a lot of it is just why.
Yeah, why? Why
did you make these changes?
Yeah. Because when I was writing that guide, I went through all of this. I went through that, oh my god, why? So many times. Like, why have you done this? Why have you done this? But in Bayonetta 1, it was when I understood why, it was like, oh my god, that is genius. And then it would change the way I played the game. But in Bayonetta 2, I just found myself stopping there at that why. I still haven't got the answers, you know what I mean? Oh man.
Yeah. I try and forget about that game.
Yeah.
Well, see, now I'm even like more curious than I was before, Yosh, to watch you play Transformers, because you're obviously like a big fan of the Bayonetta like system of mechanics, and so knowing that this game is like the base Bayonetta with some new things on top of it that are really cool and interesting. I'm really curious to see what you end up doing with it. Like, I mean, just out of curiosity, like, does that sound more or less exciting, knowing that it is essentially the Bayonetta engine, except they like remixed some things?
It sounds interesting, and probably enough that I will pick it up maybe when it goes on sale, because I'm not paying full price for this game.
Sure. It isn't 60 by default, by the way, like, just in case you didn't know. Like, I'm pretty sure the base cost is like 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, because I remember going to buy it and being like, oh, okay, this isn't actually like, you know, a 50, 60 USD game, so...
Okay, so, yeah, I'm Australian, so I'm used to getting shafted on, like, game prices.
Sure, yeah. Ugh, yeah, you guys just get boned all the time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous here as well. And we were stuck with a power.
You guys are paying in pounds, for Christ's sake. That's a shitload more.
God, yeah, that's so frustrating.
These days. Seriously. But Ben, how is everything going with Aztez, by the way?
Oh, it's going real well. Like, we're approaching content complete, and so I'd love to be able to throw it at you once or twice, and you too, Yosh, if you end up having time for it. But it's going really well. Like we've, you know, like I said earlier, like we've kind of been marketing it for a couple years, and people seem really excited about it. Like, you know, we go to the shows, we do interviews, we do the podcasts, and people seem jazzed about it. And I'm not completely sure why that is, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's just so many question marks. Like, that's what this podcast is. It's like, guys, what are these question marks? But I think we're gonna end up doing okay. I mean, like, the thing about Team Colorblind is that we're two people, so we can sell nothing and still profit. And so I think that's kind of, I mean, that's absolutely why we like stayed small. That's also why we're slowly going insane, because two people shouldn't build a highly technical action game. But yeah, I'm really, really like curious to see what ends up happening with it. Like, we have every intention of going on the marketing warpath, like, you know, a couple months before it's ready to go. But yeah, I'm just sitting here wondering what's going to happen. I wonder about it every day because I honestly don't know.
Exciting stuff.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
But going back to your point about not quite knowing why, from my point of view, and from what I've played, it's because it's so well designed and it feels so good. I think that's what you've nailed. It feels really good to play, and then the more you dig into it, the better it feels. And there's so many options. Like, in each and every situation, there's so many things you can do. And it's so much fun just exploring how all those little pieces fit together. I think what you've done, you've made it so that it's really easy to see all the little pieces. and you can see where they all fit together. Whereas if you think about Bayonetta, the original Bayonetta, like that game just throws a mass of stuff at you all at once, and you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do with this? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's difficult to see the structure, but I think Aztez, it's really simple to understand, but the more you play it, the more you enjoy it, because you realise how amazingly deep and satisfying the system is.
Yeah, that means so much to me. And the thing about it that's interesting too is that, like, in video, I think that communicates kind of well, which is, I think, part of why it, like, successfully excites people. I think that's why God of War has always been so huge, because it's like, you know, you're bringing up this idea of the front end and the back end. Like, the God of War team, their priority is completely on the front end. Like, that's the whole point. Like,
totally.
They were never trying to make a very deep action game, and so it all went into the front end. And you take any footage of a game like that, and it's going to look awesome. Like, that's the whole point. And I think that's, like, why it's been such an easy thing to market and why it's done so well. And it is an incredibly well-made product. Like, I love the God of War games. But, yeah, it's like looking at it and being able to see that it's awesome, that it's something you can play is huge. And I think we might have done that a little bit, and like that was on the heels of Wonderful 101 too. It's like looking at that and going, oh god, like what even is happening? I'm sure there's something amazing here because Platinum made it, but like we need to make sure that we communicate this stuff too. And that's, I think that's like the biggest game an action game can, or biggest mistake an action game can make. It horrifies me, like to forget that communication, that this is exactly why it's cool.
Yeah, totally.
So when's Aztez coming out?
Hopefully this year. We've been on it full time for like 4 years now, so I'm never ever going to make a game like this with just 2 people ever again. That's madness. I don't know what we were thinking. Like, you know, what was Bayonetta, like 40 people, 50 people more? God, like, and that's, you know, that's our primary inspiration was Bayonetta 1. It's like, how can we pipe in that feel and that depth into something that's just side-scrolling? So we'll see what happens. It's so frightening. It's a lot of time to be working on something.
It's your baby by now. I can understand.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's like I at this point I feel 9 months pregnant. You know, like every woman you've ever met who's in her 9 month of pregnancy, she's like, get this out of me. I hate my life. I want to die. I hate this thing inside me. Like, it's starting to get to that point. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I suppose this leads into an interesting question about designing action games. What exactly makes a game feel good? Like, this is an incredibly, like, I imagine a very hard to answer question, but how,
it's difficult. It's difficult.
I answer this question all the time. I love it. Like, this is the thing I've thought about the most. Like, when it comes to, like, something that feels really good, it ultimately comes down to 3 things. One is the actual, like, skeletal character animation. One is the visual effects, and then one is the audio effect. And like these 3 things need to be in sync, and they need to be they need to really work in their own specific way in order to make that feel good. Like, I made a piece of interactive content a couple years back. Like, it's a really simple demo. It was made in Unity. Like, you open it up, you push one button, and you can see all of these different things firing at once. And all this piece of content was there was a character on the left side of the screen, a character on the right, you push the button, the character on the left swings a sword at the other one, and all these things happen. But you can push any of the number keys to look at the individual effects, and there was like 10 of them. And so there's a lot of polish going into every single attack, and that's where the feel comes from. So do you guys remember that video that Platinum posted, like, on their official site on Bayonetta footage without effects?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they did that thing, and I remember looking at it, and this was like before we had started Aztez development. I remember looking at that being like, holy shit, like, so much of the feel is missing just from watching it, and all they've done is like remove the explosive, like, impact effects, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it has a lot to do with those 3 things right there. Those have to be perfect, or else it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I noticed that as well, working on that the guide for the original Bayonetta. When we had all of these stills of all of the special attacks and all of the various attacks that you do, the level of detail in just the hit effects was mind-blowing. And these are things that you see for a split second, but so much love and attention has gone into it. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, until you start kind of like trying to filter the different things out in your head, it all just comes together in this one like really interesting sensory thing. But as soon as you have the vocabulary for these different things, you start to go, oh, God of War's attacks feel like this because of these reasons, Bayonetta's feel like this because of these reasons, so on. And everyone does it a little bit different inevitably, but yeah, the feel is all coming from like these 12 things smashed into this one, 0.10 seconds. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And stuff like I've always thought of it like, see, this is not going into all the technical stuff like graphics and all the rest of it, because I admit I'm clueless about that side of things. But what I find is that the communication of the attacks, the communication of the enemy attacks specifically, is very, very, very important. That's almost like the beat of a song, and you are the DJ spitting the lyrics. You need to be able to work on the beat, around the beat, through the beat, however you work, wherever the vibe is taking you in that moment. You know what I mean? And when you communicate the hazards perfectly, and you have a player system which perfectly meshes with that, that is when, for me, it feels magic. And that's what I loved about Metal Gear Rising, and I loved about Bayonetta, God Hand, and now Transformers, Devil May Cry 3. All of those games nail it, absolutely nail it perfectly. Yeah. And another game that does it as well, I know it sounds like I'm plugging, but I'm being deadly, just absolutely honest, Aztez. Aztez feels like that. It does. And that's why I rate it so highly, why I enjoy it. It has that same feeling where I know where the beats are, so I know how far I can push, or how much I have to defend, or whatever. You know what I mean? I know where I am in each moment. Yeah. That's what I love about these games.
So
when
huge.
I get there, it's magic.
When you get into that zone, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Anything the game can take like off of your brain, like off of your brain's plate, is good. Like that's what makes these games so awesome, is because it's like you just become this expression monster, and the less that you have to like think about in the front of your brain, like the more in the zone you're gonna be. And that's kind of where these things end up making you feel amazing. It's because you're like, oh, if I just think about the last 10 seconds of things I did, it's incredible, but I didn't even notice it when I was doing it because I'm just like so comfortable in this system already.
That's it. It's like you know, when you first start playing, an action game, you're trying to do everything at once. You don't know what you don't have to do, if you understand what I mean. You're trying to do everything, but like the more you play it, and the more of a sense of the enemy attacks you get, and you get like an innate sense of the timings of when to dodge, when to defend, and all the rest of it. When you get there, it's like, oh my god, I can't even describe it.
Once you break that barrier, it really is something. You're playing a completely different game.
Yeah, totally. You're playing a completely different game.
And there's such a funny metaphor there too. It's like if a game combat system is something that like you're trying to fix, something you're trying to solve, like the way you play it at first is almost like picking up the whole belt of tools and just throwing it at the thing that needs to be fixed. And of course that doesn't fix anything. Like what ends up happening is you go, oh, this tool does this tool does this, and like I'm so comfortable here that I can get it out of the tool belt, do the thing with it, put it away, grab the next thing, and keep going. But yeah, like I just always imagine that first awkward, not yet over the hump gameplay is like, yep, I'm just picking up every single tool and just heaving it at this machine. And of course that never works, but that's what's supposed to happen, right?
That is what it's like. And like the more things, like you were saying earlier, the more things that you can put in the back of your head and not think about, the better. And like when you first start playing, everything's in the front of your head. But the better you get, the more things you can put in that back compartment, and they happen automatically. Then you start thinking only about the meta of what's going on, not the individual little minute details. All of that's happening automatically.
Yeah,
that's how it is for me.
An interesting thing.
It's like that's
I think a lot of players can relate to that.
Yeah. I love it when you get there. Like Metal Gear Rising, that when you get to that place in Metal Gear Rising, it's magic. It's absolutely magic. I love that game, especially Armstrong. Oh my gosh, I played Armstrong for like I swear I fought him for like a month straight, just Armstrong. God, I love that fight.
Yeah, I saw some of the videos, like, and I loved that game, and I remember watching your videos and being like, whoa, I did not know enough about this, like, not nearly as much as I thought I did, so that was cool that you made those, I appreciate it, but...
Oh man,
like,
it's so much fun, seriously, I just have so much fun doing that. That's, like, people have this impression of me that I'm really amazing at these games. I'm not, it takes me a long time. Like, when you see me put out a video like Armstrong, for example, I've been fighting him for like a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I'm able to do that. But like,
yeah,
it takes me ages. I think I just don't get bored doing it. So that's how I'm able to come out with stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. That's what I just love it, and I just love being able to share it. You know what I mean? It's just so much fun.
I do think this genre does come with, you have to excuse the term, a little bit of autism to really enjoy.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's like you need to have some obsessive tendencies, or else it's never gonna click.
Yeah.
And we've always known that. Like that's one of those weird things. It's like we've got the people who are gonna get really, really, really deep, but that's not a lot of people. And so you do have to hit the front end first, because they're a much larger group of people. But yeah, the obsession is definitely core to that. Like, you can't not think about it once you start it.
Yeah.
It's true. That's such a funny
It's true.
idea.
I remember, like, when I used to play Devil May Cry 3, I would go to bed running combos through my head. You know what I mean?
God, yeah.
It was non-stop. Like, me and
Yeah.
my friends used to get together and we'd play, like, one fight, like Beowulf, and we'd play that all day. Like, Saturday, noon till midnight, all day Beowulf, and it was just so much fun. It's like, these games for me have replaced fighting games in the arcade, because I never...
Sure.
Yeah. I never got into fighting games online, you know what I mean? Because I grew up in the arcades, it was the social interaction. That's what I loved about it. It was so much fun. There was so much trash talk and so many funny characters, and you know what I mean? It was just magic.
Yeah.
And like, these games have these are like the solo version of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
I
totally.
love getting friends together, and we just take turns on certain fights, and it's just a huge amount of fun.
Yosh, do you play, or did you ever play fighting games?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, no. I think I'm maybe a little bit too young for the arcades.
Sure. Well, I'm curious as if you ever got into like Street Fighter 3 or 4 or anything like that. Just because the overlap between people who like beat 'em ups and fighting games is pretty huge. So I'm just kind of like default curious,
Oh no. I only got into Bayonetta, I think, because I liked the look of the game.
Sure.
And then because it felt good, and then because I wanted to get better at the game. So that was my progression as a player. Like, I was literally just a normal player who didn't necessarily like these sort of games. Like, Bayonetta was the first game of its kind that I had ever picked up. And
it was your first rabbit hole?
Yeah, it was my rabbit hole.
Awesome!
That
Oh, what a
so
great
cool.
first rabbit hole! Yeah. Oh my God. So you didn't? Were you ever into any of the Devil May Cries?
No, I do get mixed
Okay.
up. I do get mixed up for another player though sometimes.
Yeah, with AccountingNightmare. Yeah. Oh no, that's so funny. Yeah. What a great first thing to get nuts about is just that for the first Bayonetta. God, I'm so jealous.
I honestly wish I could go back and forget about the game so I could learn it all over again. It's like like that experience all over again. I want it.
Yeah, I absolutely would do that if the technology existed. I would.
I know exactly what you went through.
Do you have any interest in like any of these other big franchises like God of War, Devil May Cry? Like, do you ever stop and like wonder about how they play, or is your brain just kind of fixated on Bayonetta?
It is kind of a bit of an obsession at this point at Bayonetta.
Sure.
I do know I should probably give other games in the genre a shot. I remember trying to play God Hand, and when you first play God Hand, it doesn't pull any punches, so to speak.
Oh no.
Right.
I think I put like an hour or two into the first stage, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to a game which I'm actually good at now.
Right. Yeah, the system that makes
what God Hand does
sense.
perfectly is beats the living daylights out of you, but it makes you laugh while it's doing it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, to its credit, it's funny as hell, and so
It's so funny.
That did get me through some of its harder moments where I'm just like, oh, I never want to play this again. Also, I want to break my controller. Also, I want to break my TV, but I'm laughing, so I won't. which not a lot of games do to their, when you think about it. That's really good on them.
If any game deserves a sequel, it's probably God Hand 2, though. I do know well enough that it's a good game.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Even though I never really could appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm the same way, honestly. I did not play a ton of it. I was able to look at it and go like, okay, this is a really amazing system. It's doing a lot of things its own way, but ultimately, like, it's not something I ever really enjoyed, so I totally get that. It is a little rough, though, like, going from a Bayonetta obsession as your first obsession to the other action games.
Yeah,
because,
that's kind
like,
of my problem with Bayonetta being my first action game, because it's really spoiled me. Like,
Totally.
I remember trying to play DMC4, and I think about halfway through the game, and I just kept thinking, this is so clunky and terrible.
Yeah, sure.
And I just
God, yeah.
lost like half my fan base there because they're probably all DMC fans.
Right. Yeah.
But I just could not get into it.
DMC4 is fascinating though. Like those were age-old mechanics. It's the same old Devil May Cry system, but with like the logical generational improvements, and just people did not like it online. I mean, it still did well, so like I'm pretty sure it still sold 3 or 4 million units, but like the response to it was so bizarrely bad. You're a Devil May Cry guy, right? Sorry, I thought you were. You liked 3 though, right?
Yeah, I was. I was massive on 3.
Yeah.
I was really late to the party. Like, I didn't play Devil May Cry until really late. A friend of mine introduced me to it, and then he was obsessed with Devil May Cry. And he taught me how to play Devil May Cry 3, and that's what started everything for me. It was, I'd never played a game like that before. And it was just, amazing. I love that game.
Oh, so Devil May Cry 3 was your first rabbit hole then?
Devil May Cry 3, yeah, I'd say that one was.
Oh man,
yeah.
I think that might be the darkest, deepest rabbit hole is Devil May Cry 3 out of all of them, because like, just I don't think anything's topped its insanity and its insane depth since then.
Gosh.
So yeah, that's pretty incredible that was your first thing that you got tweaked out over.
I love it. I mean, that game is just that game is a party from start to finish. I love it. It's so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
I'd love
And
for
its system
something
is
to come
insane.
like that again. Sorry, say again?
No, it's just its system was insane. I can't,
Absolutely.
like, thinking about it even today, it's like, what was that game? How did that get made?
Yeah.
And how did it succeed? It is funny to think about how it didn't at first, and then they had to release a new version for North America and Europe that was a little bit easier, and that helped it succeed, and that's kind of its own weird, interesting conversation. But yeah, like, just thinking about the fact that still exists is kind of shocking.
Nice.
Didn't you do some work with the English team that made the new Devil May Cry though?
I did.
Oh, there is DMC.
Yeah, DMC. I did some work at the studio for that game. It was a similar sort of thing that I did with yourself and Aztez. But it was it was actually working in the studio and having, a bit more hands-on with the game, with the designers, and it was a really good experience. Really good experience. I learnt a lot. I learnt a huge amount. But
yeah, that's cool. I think it turned out solid. Like, it's not the kind of thing that I would end up playing probably ever again, but like, I played all the way through it and really enjoyed it. And given like their previous combat systems, it was a huge improvement. But
yeah, they really were trying. They were trying very hard, And
it seems like they were. It seems like they were. Like, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that was crapped out,
No, there was a lot. They really were trying, and like, I know it's a really tough act to follow. Trying to follow Devil May Cry 3 or even Devil May Cry 4. It's really, really hard. And like, the intentions were there. They tried their absolute best. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's.
Was there a lot of problems on the, I guess, admin side or whatever that caused any of this stuff? Because I do know it was not received very well from DMC, like core DMC fans.
See, the thing is, I really don't like speaking ill of people's work and people that I've worked with especially, you know what I mean? It's just that I just thought it was a very strange project, to be honest. I don't think Capcom should have gone that route. I really don't think they should have. I think they should have kept Devil May Cry very close to their chest and not made another Devil May Cry game until they were sure that they could do something that would do the franchise, you know what I mean, the service it deserved.
Yeah. Well, there was the weird thing that happened maybe like maybe 6 or 7 or 8 years ago where Inafune freaked out about Americans, or I'm sorry, non-Japanese taking over Japanese IPs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was about that time that, like, I think Devil May Cry 4 had already come out and it didn't do as well as they wanted, but like all of a sudden Castlevania went to Spain and Dead Rising went to Canada and Bionic Commando went to Switzerland. Like suddenly the Japanese mindset was, oh no, he's right, like we need to make non-Japanese developers like maintain these IPs. And that was one of the things that sort of happened at the same time, was Devil May Cry suddenly going outside of Japan. And that was so weird. I don't know, like I'm still to this day kind of trying to figure out like what freaked him out so much. But he's Inafune. He was like, you know, one of the board members of Capcom, and people care about him enough that they listen. But yeah, that was such a strange thing, and I think Devil May Cry just got caught up in that.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. It does seem like that. It all happened in a wave, and you know, it must have been some real big high-ups in one of the places that just, put the hammer down and said, this has to be so, and all of this stuff happened. It was strange. I mean, like, for me, it made no sense, because the reason why I enjoyed Japanese games was because they were Japanese, and, like, they do things their way. I really like their way of doing things, so that's why I like the games. You know what I mean? To take that away and expect us to still be on board with whatever they're doing, I just think is a bit weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think part of Inafune's mindset was like, the casual gamer does not ultimately care about the depth of the game, and we need to make these things look less Japanese, we need to make them sound less Japanese, and I think he might have misinformed himself. I don't think it's an issue of depth, I think it's an issue of all these other complicated things, but yeah, it was so weird to watch that all happen. Like, about that time, Dragon's Dogma also happened, which was like, which was Capcom made. They did do it in Japan, but that was their attempt at making something that looked like that they thought would appeal to non-Japanese audiences. And it's a really strange game to think about, because it's like the combat system is pretty solid. I enjoy its combat a lot, but it has that like generic fantasy aesthetic, and to the Japanese, that's like, well, this is what white people like, so we're gonna do this. And it was so weird, because like, I don't want to look at that. Like, I want to look at Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, because those things are nuts and interesting and colorful and cool. And so yeah, it's so weird, but I'm also at peace with the fact that like, I'm an outlier of the audience, you know what I mean? Like, I'm one of the autists.
Yeah, that minority, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's rubbish being in that minority sometimes. But I can't talk to people about games at all. Like, people around me really don't understand what on earth I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's YouTube is my my outlet for this. I found a little audience there.
Yeah, thank God for it, because like, there wouldn't be combo videos without it. There wouldn't be some of the shared language. Like, oh yeah, I'm really glad it's there. Like, because in the wake of the arcade, where, like you said, people were together, they were talking shit, they were sharing strategies. Like, YouTube replaced that social aspect, and if it wasn't for that, we'd have been boned out of that aspect of everything.
Totally. It's a really important aspect of gaming, that whole human interaction part of it. And YouTube has replaced that. It really has. It allows us to do what we used to do in the arcades. Like, for me, I used to live in a small town, and I used to think I was great at certain games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Then I would go into the city, I'll go into London, and then I would see how they were playing, and I'll be like, I have no idea what I'm doing at all.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic, because the people would show you. It was just like this community of people, and like, everybody was teaching everybody, and it was just such a good atmosphere. But that thing where you can go and look at someone else's play, and it completely changes the way you see the game and how you play the game. I think that's really important. I think that's what YouTube has brought to the table. It allows us to do that.
Yeah, and it makes sense to aim or to utilize like the YouTube content creator too for marketing, because the conversation is already happening there. So you might as well put your game there, have them play it, have them enjoy it, hopefully, and then get like light that YouTube fire so that people can see it and know why it's cool. And it's basically like, you know, you might as well have an arcade coin op set up somewhere where people can look at it and play it, and it's the same thing. And that's why we're aiming for that, you know.
Yeah,
like we need that conversation happening on YouTube so that just everyone can see it and know why it's cool.
That's it. It makes so much sense. All the pieces are really in place, you know. You just got to use them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a ton of people out there who can make your game look great, I assure you. You just got to use them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But is there really any developer who's, or, you know, publisher who is utilizing that platform like that? Like, not really?
Not really. Not really, because
I can't think of any. Yeah.
Because the thing is,
like
I was
not outside
contacted
of
to
your
do
basic
something
trailer.
with... Sorry, say again?
Just not outside your basic trailer. Yeah, sorry, delay made me interrupt you.
Okay. No, it's just like what I was saying. I was contacted to do something with Wonderful 101, but that fell apart. But other than that, I've never been asked to do anything with any game that's coming out. Even like when I had the guide for Bayonetta ready, and we asked if we could do podcasts and all the rest of it, it was just a solid no. You know what I mean? And it's like, what are these people on? You know what I mean? Like, we're sitting on all of this stuff and we're not even allowed to talk about it? It's crazy. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you told them you were ready to do that, and you were willing to do that.
I was ready, more than ready, and there was there was lots of us. There was like 4 or 5 of us who were just ready to go on a show and talk about Bayonetta. And this was before the game was released. We were ready to put out all kinds of stuff. And remember, Bayonetta was completely finished, 100% done, like a year before it came out, and we had it then. So I played Bayonetta for a year before that game came out, and it was 100% finished. And we were, like, we had such a head start, and we were ready to talk about it, but we weren't allowed. You know, like the publisher was just like, no way, you're not having it. Or you can, but you can't use any audio. It's like, what?
That is so bizarre.
Yeah, that's what happened. It's crazy. It was crazy,
wow,
but that's
I didn't
Sega.
know it had been done
you know what I mean?
for a
People
year.
know how Sega are. You know what I mean? That's Sega.
Sure.
I'm so amazed Bayonetta was that polished. Wow.
Yeah. A year before it came out,
year.
it was ready. Completely localized, ready, done. You could have put it out the next day. It was amazing. And to be given a game in that state, and then go, right, in a year from now, we're releasing a guide, and you're like, wow, I've got this, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's this big secret, you know what I mean? I didn't tell anybody. It was really hard. Like, I was sitting on Bayonetta. Yeah, I had Bayonetta in my house, and I had my friend, like, still quite close to me, the guy who got me into Devil May Cry 3. I couldn't even tell him. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, that's heartbreaking.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's incredible. I did not know that.
Yeah, it was crazy, seriously. And remember as well, this is like PlatinumGames was completely new. This is a completely new thing.
Yes.
You didn't know what on earth Bayonetta was. I'd never even seen a trailer when I'd got the game. You know what I mean? I got a disc, and I'm thinking, what is this? And I put it in, and my mind was blown like 30 seconds in.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did you end up?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how did that eventuate the whole writing the guide and everything?
It was, oh my gosh, it was. I used to post on forums, and I used to post up the kind of obsessive stuff that I do on YouTube, and it was mostly on Beautiful Joe and Devil May Cry 3, and a guy who was like the head of a publishing company who did game guides. He was a member of one of the forums. And he kept asking me to write for him, and I was like, nah, I can't write, I'm rubbish, you know what I mean, I just post on forums, you know, this is no use to anyone. And then over a period of a couple of years, he kept going, do this, and then that do this kept getting bigger and bigger, until I wrote a big section of that Bayonetta guide. I did all the mechanics and the enemy strategies, and loads of it, and like, I wrote quite a few guides for that company that he ran, and that was really interesting because we we used to get shipped out to the studios. Like, I got shipped out to what were they called, Big Huge Games, I think they were called, who did that Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to stay in that studio, like working in-house for quite a while they were finalizing that game, and that was a really good experience as well. really interesting. It's just amazing how this has come about. You know, it's like,
Right.
I just keep thinking I'm nobody. You know what I mean? I'm nobody. I shouldn't be getting all this stuff happening, but that's how it's happened. It's nuts. And it's all posting on forums and putting up Devil May Cry videos.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like when a designer, and I can say this as a designer, when I see people like you guys, I'm just like, oh, I need to use their brains to dissect this thing, because like they're specifically suited to this, and it's incredible. Like there isn't more valuable feedback than the kind of feedback that comes from people like you guys, who are A, doing this by default, and B, like willing to make videos and stuff about it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't shock me at all that someone picked you up in a forum where you were already talking about this stuff. Like that completely makes sense to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't even think about it like that, really. Like I say, like I always feel like the imposter. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, that's how it happened, and it's been an absolutely amazing experience, you know. And being interviewed by PlatinumGames, that blew my mind. Like, for instance, when I was writing the Bayonetta guide, I wasn't allowed to talk to Platinum. The publisher just flat refused to allow us to talk to PlatinumGames. And that made writing the guide incredibly difficult. Can you imagine? You know, like, we had to take Bayonetta apart.
All the values in that book, did you come up with those?
Right, what happened was, while we were writing the guide, we have one guy, he is an absolute maths genius, and he worked out huge amounts of it by himself. And he, you know what I mean, we did it the best that we could, and then right at the end of writing this thing, we finally got in contact with PlatinumGames, because what happened was we were going to interview them. So in order to interview them, we obviously had to send someone there. So when we sent the person, it turns out that none of the messages that we sent them throughout the entirety of this thing that we were doing were passed to PlatinumGames. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, seriously. So it would stop at the publisher. So all of this work that we've been doing desperately was, you know what I mean, it was almost like we were being made fun of at that point. But anyway, got in contact with PlatinumGames, and they were totally cool. They were cool. Like, they were amazing. They went through the whole book with a fine-tooth comb, and they put in all the values. And the way they explained it, I'm not sure if it's lost in translation or whatever, but the way they explained it was, they didn't actually document most of this stuff. Like, they were testing it purely by playing it, and it was all on feel, and you know what I mean? It was like, so having all of these graphs and tables and all that stuff to fill out all of a sudden was an exercise that was interesting for them to do anyway. So they did it, and that's how all the values ended up in the guide. They did it, which was really cool of them. You know what I mean? But like, meeting Platinums, oh my god! Like, yeah, I got this. I don't even know if I can say.
No.
But yeah, we did an interview with some of the staff at Platinum. Cameo was there as well, and it was like pretty candid. Like, I got the job of editing that, and like whole swaths of it had to come out. You know what I mean? Oh my god.
Are you talking about the interview in the guide?
PlatinumGames? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cameo.
Yeah, what are the highlights of that?
Cameo is such a character. The guy pulls no punches. And like, I'm reading this.
Are you allowed to talk about this? This sounds really interesting.
No.
Yeah, I would love to keep hearing about this.
It was no. It's Cameo. It's Cameo. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's so awesome.
In private, I could talk to you about it, but you know what I mean. I don't
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just,
that
was
guy
amazing.
is just like a caricature of humans.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing, because like, for me, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just somebody who loves these games, and suddenly for me to be in a situation where I'm editing an interview that we did with Hideki Kamiya and some of the staff at Platinum, I'm just like, this is unreal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like, yeah. I'm just so grateful for everything that's happened. You know, it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's super cool, and it's really good that guide exists too. Just it needed to be made.
It is a wonderful guide, and I'm so glad I have it.
Oh, thank you. Seriously, a lot of love went into that. Like, we loved the game. You know, we absolutely, as you can tell, we loved it.
Clearly.
Yeah. We were having so much fun, and it was like, it was the same sort of thing, like I was saying before, you know, like in the arcades, the whole social interaction thing. It was like a group of us, and we're all in different countries, but we're communicating constantly. And like, we're all bouncing ideas back and forth, and there was this one guy that we had working for us. He was based in Japan, and we would always get to a situation where we're like, oh my god, this fight, how on earth are we going to explain this? This is too much, there's so much going on. And then he would come out with a solution that is so ridiculously simple. You're like,
sure.
Are you serious? You know what I mean? Having someone like that to bounce ideas off was really cool. Really cool. Yeah, it's just such a good experience. I learned so much as well, you know, like taking a game like Bayonetta apart. I think it teaches you a lot about game design as well. Like, you're really exploring the decisions that the designers have made. Like, once you get to a certain point, when you're obsessively logging what each and every attack does and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? You really look at it deeply, and you realise that these guys are amazing at what they do. They really are. Yeah, it's wicked. I mean, like, for me, I'm just in awe of people who can do this stuff. You know, I'm in awe of their passion, their skill. It's just amazing. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like, I won't hate on DMC, and I won't hate on the people that created it, because I watched them work, and they're godlike at what they do. They're godlike. Oh my god, I was just like amazed to be in that environment, to be given that opportunity. You know what I mean? I just think, yeah, they're just amazing people, and I just wish there was a platform for these people to really be able to do what they do best. You know what I mean? Like, if there was like a core audience that's there, ready, willing to just really plug this stuff and make it, you know what I mean, make an impact every time they release one of these games, and where the designers can really push the boat out, really do what they do best, and not feel that they have to hold back. I think that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a problem though that there isn't really a focused community, kind of like the fighting game community, for these sorts of games, because it's not really a genre in itself. That's part of a problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's also that problem of, you know, it's for a certain kind of person who likes obsessively playing games to that level. So again, you're cutting down the number of people who are into these games a lot smaller. Like, I feel like it's always going to be a problem with this sort of genre. There's not really ever going to be a dedicated community, unfortunately.
This is something that
I can see that.
Yeah, this is something that I'm really trying to make happen. Really trying to make it happen. Myself and some friends, we've got something cooking, and we're going to try our best. Try our best to get as many people involved as possible, and just try and make something happen. I really want to do this, and I think that's awesome. Yeah, seriously, the drive is there, and I've got some amazing people on board, and the written resource that we have at the moment it's serious. I mean, like, it makes the work I did on Bayonetta look amateur. It looks rubbish compared to what we're doing now, you know, and like, we're really, really trying hard to just put something out there that doesn't exist anywhere else. That's the level that we want to take it.
Well, and coming from someone who's making a game like this, like, the idea of being able to go, okay, we need to, like, make sure these guys are on board, we need to make sure that they're talking about it, that they're, you know, playing it and marketing it, like, that's awesome, because there definitely isn't that. Like, there's a couple different places you go, like, oh, make sure NeoGAF knows about it, or whatever it might be, but, like, yeah, having a centralized hub for the audience of people that like these games, like, that's huge, and you're right, it doesn't exist, and I don't understand how it doesn't exist.
We need to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously,
it kind of does exist, but it's on 4chan, so you don't take it seriously.
Well, so tell me about this community, because I don't really ever go into 4chan. So, like, is there a very, like, hardcore, like, beat 'em up or community there, or like, what specifically are you talking about?
Okay, I mean, I admit I'm not the most. I'm probably not the best person to talk about this, because I found them purely by googling my username and figuring out where I was getting all these views from one of my videos, basically.
Oh, okay.
And I found this the Cuhrayzee Games General, here on the video games sub forum on 4chan, and I have never ever posted on there, but it's just a bunch of. It's not a very good community because you have the issue of it's 4chan.
Sure. Right.
But there are definitely some dedicated people there who are really into the game and really passionately care about them. It's just the platform that it's on at the moment is not the best use of that passion, basically.
Sure.
And
they had shoved a bunch of views at you though.
Yeah, they did.
Okay,
For some reason,
cool,
they like
yeah.
my stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I think a lot of it is because they want to hold on to being anonymous. That's a big deal for them. So
Right.
attaching any of their opinions to like a username or anything is just a kind of an abhorrent idea to them. So the idea of moving to a forum even is not really what they want. So there is a bit of an issue there. But again, I only browse. I'm not entirely sure what the whole culture is behind 4chan. It's completely foreign to me.
Right. No, I mean that's cool that that's there. You know, it's like if they care enough to send views at you, that's super awesome, and it's motivating too, knowing that like, okay, cool, here's another little pocket of people that are gonna play these kind of things. Like, I didn't realize there was that buried inside of 4chan. I thought 4chan was like, you know, porn gifs and that's it, or whatever it might be.
No,
today or
sometimes,
tonight.
very rarely, once in a blue moon, some good discussion can happen.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't realize there was any.
But yeah, other pockets I'm aware of. There is a Russian community as well, where they talk about these games.
Yeah,
that's about
I
it
got
in
some
terms of-
traffic from them at one point as well. One of my wonderful 101 videos just skyrocketed all of a sudden, and I realised it was because there was a Russian community and they were talking about it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Shit. Did you know if it was like were these from a specific community or website, or was it just like
it was a link
coming
from
from Russia?
Yeah, it was a link from a specific YouTube video. Cannot remember the guy's name, but yeah, he's got quite a following, and he did a little piece on Wonderful 101 and linked to one of my videos, and I got a huge amount of traffic just through that one link.
Awesome. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, there's things happening. We just need to bring it together. And like,
This is these little pockets you just need to unify somehow.
Yeah, we need to make something like this happen because all the pieces are there. We just need to make it happen, and this is what I'm really, really going to try hard to make happen. Really.
No, that's great you're trying to do that, because I do think there needs to be a better venue than 4chan of all things.
Right. Yeah. Anything kind of is a better venue, right, than like any of the 4chan message boards.
Yeah.
God.
But you're right, there's like these little pockets of people who do enjoy these games, but they even don't care enough to post on like a community, or they can't find a community.
Yeah, that's
Because
always
it's
been
so
my thing. I
buried
just
in,
don't know
like,
where to go.
wherever.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, you got to dig through YouTube. Like, I don't even remember how I found your videos, Yosh. Like, it just happened on accident.
Yeah, it's me as well.
Yeah, same. If it wasn't for the guide, I wouldn't have known about Saur stuff. So yeah, it's these satellites everywhere. Like, it's just this big network, but like, there's not a lot of connections. And I think part of the problem is that like we're all playing these games, and that's probably where we'd rather put our energy than like getting online and forging connections. Like I'm sitting there with an hour before I go to sleep going like, okay, I can keep playing Bayonetta, or I could like go find people to talk about Bayonetta with. Of course I'm going to keep playing Bayonetta, right? Like 9 times out of 10 that's what's going to happen.
I guess that's the problem with these games, because they are ultimately single-player games.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's easy to just kind of cloister up and then suddenly, like, you know, 1,000 hours has passed or whatever it might be, and you're like, oh shit, I've been rocking this solo, which is totally cool. But
this is the thing though, like if I know specifically for God Hand kind of became a big thing because one person, that is to say Alps, dug into the game, and then Mike Cobb came along and helped him, and that's kind of how, I guess, for God Hand opened up, so to speak. Like, working with someone to look into a game is a huge boon, and not being able to do that is, really difficult.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. And I think it's cool that you have a friend who you've been playing Bayonetta with, who sounds like they're as nuts about the game as you are, and it's clear that, like, you're exchanging information, and that's super cool. because listening to those last handful of Bayonetta plays was like, oh, there's like two humans sharing their information on the game, and it's like twice as enlightening because you have different play styles and stuff like that. So I think it's super cool that happened. Those are really enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was aiming for with these podcasts, is to like just get a whole spectrum of what kind of people play these games.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, I guess, curious to sort of figure out what kind of people actually listen to these, because it can't all just be my subscribers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, and that's weird. Like we keep referencing like this specific time when like these views were coming from some weird source, and so that just kind of like every single day you're rolling the dice on whether that happens, and it's interesting to think about.
Oh man.
Is there anything coming out that you guys are like excited to play?
Yeah, what's coming out? I can't even remember. Something that came out recently. I've been waiting ages to play, and that's to play again. That's Darius Burst. That game is amazing. Like I played that in the arcades.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you made a video, right?
Yeah, that game is so good. It's so good. Elegant.
Yeah, you're probably an old school shmup fan, right?
Yeah. I grew up in the arcades. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no money back then either. That's why I used to you learn how to make your coin last a long time.
Oh God, right? Yeah, that's
when you got no money, you're forced to become good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you scrape together 4 coin, and then you're like, all right, what do I play today, and how hard do I play it? Because this is it.
Yeah. I'll put my coin in Street Fighter. I'm not coming off.
Yeah. That's so fun, and that's like an interesting personal habit that develops because of that too. Is like arcade maniacs who grew up in that environment are like, all right, well, I have to like keep smashing my head against this thing until I've beaten it, and that's not a habit that gets developed outside of that environment, short of like having that naturally, which is rare. But like, yeah, that's a weird habit that comes because you grew up in that environment.
Yeah, exactly. It was. There was no internet. There was no, you know what I mean? It was just you and the machine, and you had to work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like you get conditioned into expecting a deeper level. I don't go into a game thinking the surface level is all there is. I'm programmed to always go, no. This is just the icing. You know what I mean? You got to go down a bit deeper. But but it's like what Yoshish was saying earlier. When you get into Bayonetta, it ruins everything. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
it does. It wrecks everything
really
because you play other action games and you're like, oh god, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I played Shadows of Mordor. Say again?
It's a Ferrari. You can't drive anything else ever again.
Yeah.
I chose the worst game.
Yeah. It is. It's the best game and the worst game. Seriously, I played Shadows of Mordor, which was fun until I realised that was it. You know what I mean? Where I got to mechanically a couple of hours after I started playing, and I was like, oh wait a minute, this is it. This is the whole thing. Not interested. That's where it stopped.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those games like God of War, like you were saying earlier. The front end looks amazing, and when you make videos of it, it looks like a choreographed action scene from a high budget movie. It looks amazing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But when you think about it, there's not that much going on. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it was interesting in God of War because it was intentional, and but like I think with like in the case of Shadows of Mordor, because I actually have some friends who are on the development team, like they weren't conscious of that. They're like, oh, we're gonna make a combat system, whatever, who cares? Like, make some of the animations cool and like make sure our effects are alright, but they weren't thinking about like, should we make this deep, should we make this shallow? That was a bizarre case of just complete lack of consciousness, which is kind of weird to think about. It did okay, like, it had the big environment and the IP, but yeah, that was not a team intending to do anything specific. They were just getting a combat system in place.
Yeah, it's interesting.
This is interesting to me. Like, what exactly defines depth?
To me, it's just something you can well, I would say it's something you just continually explore, like that for a long time.
Yeah. It's how far you can go. Like, you play in the surface level, and then you're trying to do everything at once. Then you learn how to manage those things one by one. Then all of a sudden they all become subconscious, and then you find another bit, and you learn that, and then you find another bit, and it goes on and on and on. But like, it's not simply, depth is not simply the length of the moves list, or how many commands you can do. It's not that, it's everything. It's like, for instance, with like with Bayonetta, every single action in that game has multiple uses. There's not a single thing in that game which is just, that's what it does. You know what I mean? And like, but the thing is, on the surface level, you think that's all it does. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
The gunshot, for example, when you press the square button on PlayStation, I don't know what you put. Like, you think, oh, that's just like a really basic little thing, you know what I mean? Then you realise what it does with the combo timer. Then you start thinking about, oh, wait a minute, I can use this to keep my combo going by hitting things in the distance and all that kind of stuff. So each and every little thing you do means something, you know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. That's what, it's like a big machine, you know what I mean? And you've got all these different little parts. And if they interlock perfectly, that's when you've got a really good, deep game system. But it doesn't necessarily have to be ridiculously complex. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the way things work. That's where depth comes in. Like, for instance, a lot of action games that are described as shallow, the ones that people never describe as deep, are always the ones where they come from designers who have an idea of what they want it to look like, but they don't quite know how to make it play right. You know what I mean? Like, for example, that Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Yeah.
They had a system in place where they wanted to make it look like you could dodge attacks at the very last frame. So what they would do is they would project the player's hitbox ahead of the player character as he moved away, to give the illusion that you just frame dodged something. You know what I mean? Whereas
weird.
I'm thinking, why on earth did you do that? Why don't you just give X frames of invincibility on dodge? You know what I mean? And they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Just out of curiosity, what did they say when you asked them that?
I explained where I was coming from. I had quite a few ideas down, and I was just told that's a load of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Fix this, jokers.
Yeah. That's just like what I was talking about. It's just bullshit. You know what I mean? Meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and Kingdoms of Amalur is a funny example because you look at that on paper, and it seems like the kind of game where there's a lot to do, but you stop learning after a couple hours. Like you've run out of things to really figure out, even though it looks like there's this big list of mechanics that you can actually do. Not really.
Not really.
There's a handful of different weapons, and they each have a couple of different attack animations, and that's cool. But you stop learning very quickly, and to me, that's what shallow is.
Yeah, it's incredibly rigid. That's what I believe. That's what I feel shallow is, when it's just you can't break through the initial surface layer because there are too many boundaries in place. Like they're trying to control the game.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. They're just putting these arbitrary limits in place because, you know what I mean? Like take that Reckoning game for example. In that game, what is it? Light attacks can be cancelled with anything. Hard attacks can only be cancelled with specials. Specials can't be cancelled. And that dictates the entire system. And because you've got that in place, that just puts like a stop on everything you can do. And also what it does, it stops you from being able to throw out special attacks in tight situations because you won't be able to cancel that animation into a defensive action. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. You know, like for instance, the conversation that we had during when we were speaking about Aztez. You know what I mean? That was a thing that came up. It's like when I'm trying to describe the beats of a song, and you're spitting the lyrics on the beats. You know what I mean? You need to have that freedom to spit the lyrics where you want to spit them. You know what I mean? You can't have the beat putting these limits in place where you can't do anything with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I think about it.
Yeah, it's a really helpful metaphor.
Yeah, it's like a deep system is when the player system becomes invisible and the communication of the enemy hazards becomes instinct. When you have those two together, that's when I feel it really, really clicks. That's what Bayonetta does beautifully. That's what Devil May Cry 3 does beautifully. So does Transformers. Oh my god, that game, it's... Oh, don't get me started. I'll just go on about Transformers.
Right? Yeah.
Oh man. But what are you playing these days, Yoshisk?
Oh, bugger. Nothing really.
For real?
Yeah.
Nothing? I tell you what you should do. What you need to do is play Transformers. In fact,
I will join your little group. Yes, I will pick it up. Okay.
All right. What I'm gonna do, because I want to talk to you about this as well, because I know we spoke about Umbra Nuts.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Nothing happened. I want to maybe talk again.
Okay, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to approach it differently. What I'm trying to do, I want to get this Transformers thing done first, because this is gonna be like the model. You know what I mean? If this works, then I'm gonna say, look, let's do it properly with Umbra Nuts. I mean properly. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not like last time. Properly, and we'll deal with it. You know what I mean?
Look forward to that, guys.
Yeah. But what I need to do, I need to get this Transformers thing to a state where I can let people see it. There's two of us working on it right now, but as soon as it gets up to a good state, I will send you the links so you can see what we're doing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
see if we can use a similar model to do something with Bayonetta as well.
We'll get something going.
Yeah, and it's all about the cross promotion of channels. This is I think the key part of it. It's to make it look like that we are a collective. It's to make people who subscribe to us feel like they are joining in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to make happen.
We need to foster that sense of community.
Yeah, because you know, like the fighting games, there's all these personalities, and people can subscribe to it, and these personalities always bring them up to speed on what's going on, and you know what I mean? They're like the voice of the community. Yeah, we need to try and make some of that stuff happen. You know what I mean? And like me, I'm not very good at talking on the mic and all that kind of stuff. So
I don't think I am either. But...
Yeah, so like. But the writing part of it and the really obsessive Excel document stuff, I can do that all day. So I'm thinking, you know what, let me just do that all day and try and bring all other people in who have the skills that I don't have. You know what I mean? And we can all just absorb stuff off each other. You know what I mean? And make something big happen. This is what I'm hoping.
No, this sounds like exciting stuff I want to happen.
Really?
From a selfish point of view, I just want to watch Yoshisk play Transformers. Just from a purely selfish, I need to see this happen.
In that. Especially as Yoshisk is a product of the Bayonetta system, if you don't mind me saying so. You know what I mean? But it's like, you are the living example of Bayonetta's design principles. You are someone who wasn't that, you weren't really into action games, but you liked the look of the game. It appealed to you. Yeah. And the game communicated its strengths to you and taught you about all of this stuff, and then you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then through that experience, you became a godlike player. You know what I mean? That is exactly what they were trying to do with Bayonetta. And that's why I was so frustrated with Bayonetta 2. And it's like, look what you've done already. You know what I mean? Don't throw all of this out. Because like it's like Bayonetta's done so much for me. Like Bayonetta changed my life. I'm not even joking. You know what I mean? It changed my life. Like the work I did on that guide got me so much other work and so much exposure to environments that I never imagined I would ever be there. And it's all off the back of Bayonetta. You know what I mean? So when I played Bayonetta 2 and I saw how they threw all of that out, I'm like, wow. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Why are you doing this? It's almost like you don't have the confidence in your own work. You know what I mean? Let your work speak for itself. You don't have to do this.
Part of it makes me wonder if it's because of a different publisher or something. Like, did Nintendo change it? Was it because it was a bigger team?
Yeah. I agree with that. This is a thought that I've been having. Maybe Nintendo were too heavy-handed. You know what I mean? I can only speculate, but possibly. Yeah, I mean, I know how difficult publishers can be.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me to imagine Nintendo being very, very overbearing on what they wanted to happen with it. You know what I mean?
That could have been it. That
Because
could have been
it strikes me as such an outlier in terms of PlatinumGames' lineup, I guess, in terms of depth and gameplay. It's so different to everything else. It's like completely opposed to the usual design philosophy.
Yeah, that is very weird to think about because they've never broken their own rules on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And wasn't it? It was different. It was different designers and producers too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
2?
Well, actually, the combat designer was the same, which is why I'm so baffled by some of these things.
It was the same combat designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
I believe it was the
didn't
same
even know
guy. So the same guy. So I think it's Don-san or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was him who worked on the combat in 2. So it's why, you know, I broke down Rodan in Bayonetta 2. He's a terrible fight. And then you compare him to Rodan in the first game, and who's completely fair in all sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why?
Yeah.
And it never like you said, it never gets past that initial why.
Yeah. It makes no sense. Like, for instance, when we were working on the Bayonetta 1 guide, we would I would come up against something, and I think that is, I don't understand why you've done that, because like I came from Devil May Cry 3, where everything is really, really strict, and it's very precise all the time. And like, for instance, the parry system in Bayonetta, I thought it was too easy. But it was only when I understood the scoring system and realised what I'm not doing when I'm parrying. When I'm parrying, I'm not attacking. And it's like, I get why you did that. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's little things like that. And it's like, I understand why you've done this. And it's only when you start playing the harder difficulties, when you've got so much stuff going on, you are so thankful for that parry system. It works so well. It works, like, really well. But it's easier than Devil May Cry. And like that went against what I understood depth to be. You know what I mean? I thought depth equaled that precision, that you know what I mean? But Bayonetta was a lot easier to play. But it didn't mean that it was simple. It didn't mean that it was kiddie or anything like that. It was just easier to get into. And I think they absolutely nailed that in that game. That's why I was so surprised with Bayonetta 2. And Bayonetta 2 is ridiculously front-loaded.
Completely. There's no point in using the parry system in 2.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, the whole risk-reward dynamic is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which time is no longer determined by you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't
It's determined by what attack you dodge, apparently.
Yeah. It's like, why? You know what I mean? Why? Like, if you are fighting in Bayonetta 1 and you nail a perfect parry and you get extended witch time, that's you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did
right.
It's that reward you get for putting the risk in for that perfect parry, right? You get extended witch time. Whereas in 2, you just get slightly longer than 2 seconds or something. It's awful.
Yeah, it was stupid. Like, it was stupid. Like, sorry, I don't want to get negative. You know what I mean? But like, I didn't get it. I really didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Did not understand. But yeah, enemies were so stupid as well. Oh no! Listen,
no. If you want to, feel free to do it.
No.
I'm quite happy to allow this because I am the same way.
Yeah, we've all got the same frustrations, right? Like this isn't new or annoying. It's like, yeah, I feel the same way.
Oh god. Seriously.
It's nothing. It's not bad to have a circle jerk sometimes, especially about Bayonetta.
Right.
Oh man. But like,
it's just it is weird to think about what might happen with the next one if it happens though. Like, do they think the same things we do? Like, are they sitting there going, oh well, you know, we did these things, maybe let's like revert, or let's try a new thing, or let's try and be Bayonetta 2 all over again? Like, what's going to happen?
It's a scary thought if it does happen, because the optimist in me thinks, okay, maybe be like the DMC series where 3 was amazing, right?
Right.
Because there was a lot of improvement in 2. Theoretically, it could work very well, but implementation-wise, it was not great.
Right.
So you could imagine kind of a melding of 1 and 2 being absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like the sequel that I wanted, basically.
Yeah. See, that's what
and
I
that's
wanted.
if it happens, because it didn't do great, which is kind of scary.
Bayo 2 didn't do great?
I think it ended up hitting 1 million. like 1 million units sold everywhere, and that was, from what I gather, was mostly North America, then Europe, then Japan. But like 1 million after like a year and a half or two is not great. From what I understand, they spent a huge amount of time making it, and they had all the people on it, and so I'm guessing they didn't profit from it. Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know. I have no clue structurally what Platinum is like, but that's not a whole lot given how much. And I don't know. I mean, there might have been weird details about the publishing deal with Nintendo. Maybe they did. I don't know. But it's a huge question mark that it could go in so many different ways. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Although I imagine with Bayonetta being announced for Smash Bros, there's been a lot of new players. I think I've got a lot more views on my Bayonetta explained videos. Yeah.
Really? Awesome. Okay.
That is cool.
Yeah, I've been getting more comments on it recently, so I assume people are watching it again. So they're trying to figure out how to get basically good at the game.
Yeah. Well, and you've got those core, here's an introduction to the systems type videos, and those are really good because there are not a lot of those. Like when you go search Bayonetta on YouTube, you're either just getting like an insane combo video where nothing makes sense, or you're getting something in another language. But yeah, there's not a lot of like, here's how this works, and that's really good.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for nuance to do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll have to apologise for that, for the lack of updates on that one, but it just fell apart completely, and I had a bad year last year, and I just haven't been on games that much, you know what I mean? But I'm back in action now, so looking to make something happen.
Real life takes precedent. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, there was real life stuff.
You ended up getting 3 episodes done though, right, Saur? Like 3 or 4?
I got 2 episodes done, and I got 1 written. The one that I've written, I've read it, and it's garbage. So I've thrown it out, and I want to do it again, but do it differently.
Okay.
Differently, because the problem that I had with Unbeknownst was that I was writing it and doing it during a period where I wasn't enjoying it. I really wasn't enjoying the game, and I wasn't enjoying playing it because there was just so much garbage going on. You know what I mean? But now, it's like, especially with Transformers and all that kind of stuff, I've just massively got back into this stuff, you know what I mean?
Nice.
And now,
okay,
coming from someone who is genuinely enjoying what he's doing, I think it's going to be much better.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Enthusiasm is the best.
Yeah. Definitely. That's what's been so great. I'm working with one other person at the moment on Transformers, and it's been absolutely brilliant. He's called D3taylz. How do you spell it? It's D3taylz, and he's got a YouTube channel. Yeah, and he used to have a channel, Broly. I think it's Broly 2012. He was like an old school Devil May Cry.
That name around too.
Yeah, he was old school Devil May Cry 3, and he's a really good guy, and like, he's massively got into Transformers, and we're working on something at the moment that I think is going to be pretty special, and we're just gonna open it up and allow anybody to use it as they see fit. And I think it's going to be like, it's going to be different to what you'd expect. You wouldn't expect that level of detail from a non-official guide source. You know what I mean? It's like the same level of in fact more detail than the Bayonetta guide that I did. More than that, much more.
Wow.
So we're really going in, and like that game just keeps throwing in. Yeah, that game just keeps throwing up more and more and more amazing surprises. There's so much to it. So much.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game, that. So
we're
gonna
dig into that game then.
Yeah. I'd wish you would. I think it'd be really interesting to hear your opinion on it, because like the core Bayonetta system is there. It's that they've built this whole next thing on top of it, and like, it's funny because like when I first played the game, somebody commented on one of my videos just asking like, how would you sum up this game? How would you describe it? And I thought momentum. That's what this game's about. It's like you have to build up momentum and then you unleash it. But I didn't really think about what I was saying. It was just like what the game felt like, you know what I mean? But then when we started writing this thing, it turns out that there is a momentum system in the game. Like, the more momentum you build, the more perks you get, the more buffs you get. You know what I mean? It's really cool, like what they've done. I think it's absolutely awesome, and like the things that they've done in this game, they could use this now as the base and then springboard another Bayonetta on it, because like in this game, they've allowed you to chain witch time. You know what I mean? And in this game, they've done stuff like incorporate the parry system into the offset system. You know what I mean? And they've got stuff like where if you input attacks in specific ways, you get different effects. And stuff like that. Like on the surface level, it's really simple, but when you get into it, it's ridiculously deep. Ridiculously.
Yeah. And from a production point of view, it makes sense to have an in-house engine. Like, if you're always going to be making this type of game, and you happen to build the best, one of the best engines like in the history of that type of game, keep it and like make licensed games really quickly and sustain yourself, and then continue to because every time they make one of these games, like they add new tech to the engine. Like that's the way these things go.
Yeah.
And so I love them to keep. And the Ninja Turtles game, like that was just announced. Like I'm super psyched to see what that ends up being.
Really
and I've literally never said that. Like I've never been like, oh, this licensed game, I can't wait to play it. Like not since we all got burned as kids by the 10th licensed game that sucked, right? Like so that's it. It makes sense for them to be doing that. And yeah, that core engine is just going to keep getting better and better over time.
Yeah, that's it, baby. Seriously, and when they it's when they use it. Every time they use it in a game, it just feels right. That is the one. Yeah. You know what I mean? That is the one. That's what I got. I remember, like, the very first time I played Bayonetta, when I got that disc, when I'd never even seen a trailer, I switched it on, and I played it, and I was on that vestibule, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And, like, I swear, as soon as described dodge offset, I can't even remember what it is, one of the tutorials or stuff like that, I flipped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I was like, this is amazing, oh my god, I was flipping out.
Yeah.
When I understood what that was, I was like, this is incredible, wow. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff they put in their games is so much fun, and but the thing is, on the surface of it, it's really simple, because like, when you think about dodge offset, it's a really simple thing, and you're wondering, why wasn't that a thing before? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
It's beautiful in its simplicity.
Yeah. And like the elegance of it, you know what I mean? Like the dodge in Bayonetta is the same as the dodge in Beautiful Joe. You know what I mean? It's a guess. It's not a guess. It's a choice that you make, like, either right or wrong. You know what I mean? But instead of making it, you know what I mean, this up and down motion, now you've got this button that you do it with. You know what I mean? So you're because you're using 3D space, you can't really think about where the character is when you dodge. You know what I mean? What matters is, did you dodge, yes or no? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that binary decision at the heart of it, and then all of this stuff just springs out of that. You know what I mean? It's fascinating how they designed it.
Just wondering, was Cuhrayzee based on the Bayonetta system?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I had played it a little bit. So here's the thing: like, it wasn't very good. I don't necessarily think that was. I don't think that was a PlatinumGames shortcoming. Like, it was the Bayonetta engine and had the same input scheme. It was very clearly like that core tech. What they were trying to do with Cuhrayzee just did not translate very well, because like the whole thing of like, oh, these big elemental attacks were like big fists made out of water come out of the ground, and like they did a really good job of making it look just like the cartoon. And I've never really watched the cartoon, but like I've seen enough of it to be like, this is what it's about, you know. They did that well, but it didn't ultimately end up a very good game because of it. So like it was okay, you know. I played a couple hours of it. It was fine. It wasn't anything phenomenal, but yeah, it was Bayonetta engine for sure. Oh, okay. I have a feeling they didn't have time to do that. They were probably like, here's 3 months, like, make this game, hurry up, we don't care, just let it be out before this date, you know?
Oh god.
Yeah, I would never bother with it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
What do you guys think about what do you guys think about Dragon Scale?
Oh my god. Scalebound?
Yeah, Scalebound.
Scalebound, yeah. Yeah, because that's the next Kamiya.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be...
And Microsoft, yep.
Yeah.
Different kind of game than I expected.
Freaking me out. It does not look like it's on the Bayonetta engine. That's what's kind of super weirding me out.
it seems more RPG focused by the looks of it. It strikes me as a bit more like Dragon's Dogma, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
interesting,
so it's
a very interesting
heavy
play though.
character. Yeah. And no one's played it. Like, I don't know a single person, journalist or otherwise, who's, like, actually gotten their hands on it, but looking at the little bit of gameplay footage that came out, like, it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. Like, you know, you had the big dragon, it's obvious that's one of the mechanics, like, making this thing attack the mobs or spitfire, whatever it is, but it is definitely not Platinum tech that exists already. So, ooh, I want to be so excited, but, like, it's a big question mark.
Yeah. Is Kamiya gonna work his magic again?
Yeah.
The guy's a genius.
God.
Seriously, the guy's a genius.
Absolutely.
Seriously, he may go in directions that you just don't expect. You really can't tell until you played something of his. You really can't tell.
Yeah, he's kind of like the dark, chaotic genius where it's like you don't really know what's going to happen. You know it's going to be brilliant, but like he could be making a weapon, or he could be making like a clone of someone that's beautiful, or it's hard to tell with him because you look at like his track record, and they've been mostly successes in the sense that like we love them, we care about them, they're these great products, but they just don't always take. Like, Beautiful Joe did not take as awesome as it was. Like, Okami struggled, it eventually did well, and, you know, just the Bayonetta troubles, like, that guy's just, he's insane.
Yeah. But such an amazing imagination.
He's the best.
I love every single one of his games that I've played, so
Yeah,
I
same.
am looking forward. Tentatively so. I don't think I'm going to buy an Xbone for Scalebound, unfortunately, but, you know, wait and see kind of approach.
Yeah.
Well, I already have the Xbox One. I got it as a gift, so I'll play it. I'll let you guys know. So if you're worried about the investment, I will end up snapping into it regardless of what ends up happening because I already got the console. But yeah, I'll let you know. I mean, you gotta play it, you know. But fingers crossed that it's magical.
I'm hoping they come with a PC version at some point as well. I really don't want to buy another console.
Oh god, yeah.
So broke.
I bought a console specifically for Bayonetta 2, and that was probably the worst investment ever.
I did as well. Yeah, I bought it.
I mean, okay,
Bayonetta
there was
2.
Wonderful 101 as well, but
it was a nice little bonus. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's true. I did the same.
Yep, I did the same.
Shout out to all those people who bought a Wii U just for Bayonetta.
Yeah. I mean, I lucked out because there ended up being, like, because I'm a Monster Hunter fan, so I lucked out. They ended up porting one to there. But, apart from that, it's like, it's my Bayonetta 2 and Wonderful 101 machine. Neither of which I ended up playing a whole ton of, so yeah, that ended up kind of being just a hit to the wallet.
Same. I did want to try and get into Smash Brothers, but I just don't have the time. I really don't. It seems like a really cool game, though.
Yeah, I think it is, but you definitely need a couple friends. Like one-on-one, it's a little rough, but if you can scrape together 3 or 4 people, it gets awesome. Yeah. But I'm also a fighting games fan, so like keep my own personal biases in mind when I say that. I think they're good. I just think you need a couple people. Yeah.
Man, that's what I miss. You know what I mean? It's just like, when I was younger, it was always playing games with other people, you know what I mean? But these days, just so busy with work and life and all this kind of stuff going on, you just don't get that kind of, those kind of sessions going on anymore.
It's kind of a luxury these days, honestly.
It is a bit of a luxury,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
being an adult sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Like, on one hand, you've got the money to buy the stuff you want, but on the other hand, you don't have time.
Totally.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Any game designer in the world will tell you that. They're like, you've got 2 types of people. There's the kids with no money and a lot of time, and then there's the adults with the opposite. And like, you have to pick one because they're not going to like the same things.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm trying to branch out into all too many different directions at once these days, and I just don't have the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really want to try and concentrate on getting this YouTube thing going. You know what I mean? I think this is going to work. I really do. Especially, it has to. You've got to try and make something happen. Because what I want to try and make happen is like create a platform for people like yourself, people like PlatinumGames, etc., who want to put out these games. The platform's already there. they can put those games out, sell it to those people, and those people are going to promote it, and you know what I mean? It'll go from there. Similar sort of thing to the fighting game community. You know what I mean? That's what I really
to have what they
want
have.
to me,
What a
want
dream.
to have happen. Yeah, I want that to happen. It's got a serious. There's so many godlike players out there. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people who are just sick, like ridiculous at these games. You know what I mean? They need more exposure. And like, I think if we just worked a little harder, a little bit differently, promoting each other's YouTube channels, etc., I think we'd increase traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's something I'm going to make
You're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, you really
You're
are.
doing the Lord's work. Yeah, and it's reasonable too, though, because like, how many people do all three of us know that watch games on Twitch that they don't even play? Like at the very worst, you've got people watching games they don't play, and how many people do we all know that are like, I get all my reviews from Twitch, like I watch the games there first, and then I go buy it because it looks like fun being able to see someone play it and narrate it. So like, that is actually a reasonable thing that can happen right now, and that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. I mean, I've never played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I know everything about that game, and I watch it religiously.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that game just because of just how hype it is. It's like the matches are so exciting, and the personalities involved in it are they're amazing. It's just so entertaining to watch. You know? Yeah,
right.
I love that for that. You know.
Me too.
Yeah, we can try our best to make that happen.
Game reviewers are quickly becoming irrelevant in this day and age, in my opinion.
Oh man.
Yes. Yeah.
Disappointed.
I don't know anyone who uses them.
Yeah.
Like,
disappointed.
Who reads that stuff, honestly?
Yeah. I mean, like, oh man, I'll probably get into trouble if I if I say what's on my mind. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's disappointing. You know what I mean? Like, they're in a position to do a huge amount of good. They really are. Like, they can be the people who defend the minds, the really, really brilliant minds in game design. They can make sure that their ideas are communicated and their ideas are, you know what I mean, given the respect and exposure that they deserve. You know what I mean? But they don't do that. You know, they don't do that at all. It's almost like they have this. It's like a box ticking exercise. So they have this list of requirements that a game has to meet, and if it doesn't meet that, no, tick it. It's wrong.
If it doesn't go for a certain number of hours, it's terrible.
Yeah. That is the one. Yep. That is the one that winds me up the most. This game is X hours long. It's like, since when did games have a running time? You know what I mean? If a game only interests you for the duration of its narration, that's a failure. You know what I mean? That's a failure on that game. It's not a game. That's a movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's true. It's true. Like, they complain about games like Metal Gear Rising and Transformers being too short. I'm 200 hours deep into Transformers and I haven't even done everything yet, and I haven't learned anything yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're huge games, but they're huge. They're not narratively huge. You know what I mean? So it doesn't float their boat. If it was like 200 hours worth of story, they'd be raving about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I have journalist friends, and the thing that's interesting is that, like, most of them are very normal people in the sense that, like, they're not particularly passionate about a certain type of game. They don't, like, dive deep into anything. Part of it is that they've got so many games to review that time ends up becoming a metric whether they like it or not, because it's like, alright, I'm going to sit down and play Shadows of Mordor. If this takes more than 6 hours to get through, then I'm in trouble. Or if I'm playing this on the weekend, because I have journalists who do that, or journalist friends who do that, they're like, I'm really into this, I'm going to play it over the weekend in my free time. Like, there's just so many weird factors that have nothing to do with whether it's best for the audience at large or not, just because, like, journalists are all normal dudes and girls who, like, you know, don't they're not getting paid a lot, they don't have a ton of time at the office every day. Like, it's just it's not a good scene, especially since any of us can turn on Twitch and, like, listen to a person describe the game and watch it at the same time, and it's just I think it's kind of obsolete at this point. Like, even if a journalist has really good intentions and they're saying all the right things, like, that's still a less ideal format for learning about a game as a consumer than watching someone play it, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, like what Twitch and YouTube have done is it's replaced the arcades. We don't have the arcades anymore, but so we don't have that. It's like when you play on your own, you're in this little bubble. You know what I mean? But as soon as you go and you enter an environment where there's others playing it, you start bouncing ideas off other people, and your game improves. You know what I mean? That is what Twitch and YouTube bring to the table. You know what I mean? And we really, really need to utilize it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm getting tired.
Was there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
I don't think so.
I think I'm alright. I've said my bit. I've said my bit. And I really appreciate you having me on. It means a lot. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh no, that's nothing. It's great you guys have been on this. It's been enlightening.
Oh, it's no problem. I mean, like, myself and Ben, we've had conversations in the past, long, drawn-out conversations, you know, but we've never spoken on Skype, I don't think, have we?
No, I don't think we ever did.
Oh, wow, yeah. We did a lot.
Yeah. yeah. And you know, from a personal point of view, like, players like you guys are, they're huge motivations for designers like me, because I'm making a game that I want you maniacs to be able to metabolize and enjoy. And since you're video content creators, like, you end up helping me, and I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Like, you guys will end up enjoying it, you end up, like, showing it to people, and so, like, you guys are the gamers I'm thinking about most of the time. Like, how do I make sure they're happy? You know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just, at the end of the day, I'm, like, silently grateful for people like you guys. So just FYI. Like,
no, I think it's like a two-way street here. We appreciate the game you put out, and you appreciate the exposure, so it's win-win all around.
That's it.
Exactly, yeah, that's the way I think about it, as opposed to like, oh, I'm so glad they're gonna make videos. Like, no, it's just, you guys are amazing, and that's what's cool about it, and like, that's what makes my shit look cool. It's because you guys are awesome, you know what I mean?
That's what I love about this. That's what I love about this genre. It's as much about what the player brings to the game as what the game brings to the player. You know what I mean? It's that symbiotic thing that's going on. Yeah. That's what I love about this genre. You know, there are people out there who can make this stuff look so cool, but at the same time, the games have to enable that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's a dance.
That's a perfect way to describe it. You know what I mean? Symbiotic relationship between the designer and the player, and this is what I wish Platinum would do more of. Because it could.
Don't fighting games get big players in to help develop their games or something? I'm not entirely sure of this, but
I have no idea. Seriously, like, working out Platinum stuff is like reverse engineering alien tech. You know what I mean? You just accept it for what it is, and that's it.
Yeah. I do think they do, Yosh. I think that, like, because I know that, especially with Street Fighter 2, like, they did a lot of American testing in arcades, and they did consulting with, like, the American players that were doing really well at the time. I think that's a part of, like, the Street Fighter tradition. I don't know about the other fighting games. One of my old bosses was one of those guys, by the way, so I'm not talking out of my ass, but, like, something about the Street Fighter team, it's just in their DNA to, like, utilize their high-level players. I don't know why more teams don't do that. I honestly don't. But to answer your question, I think Street Fighter does, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't there that kind of interaction, you know, I guess with PlatinumGames and any other developer who wants these kind of, like, wants to produce these games. Right.
Yeah, who knows? It's such a missed opportunity.
It really is.
It's a missed opportunity. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the right feedback is incredibly useful. You know, you must have your core group, and you can rely on. You have to. I mean, if I was designing a game, I'd be the same way. There's no way I would design a game in isolation, because there's no way you can't do it. You know, if you have one person designing all the enemies, all those enemies will be designed around that one person's playstyle. Yeah. As soon as you let somebody else into the room, all of your hard work will be trampled.
Yeah.
Because they will find things that you never thought of.
Yup.
How do you get around that then? Like, because you're in a team of two. How do you get around that kind of thing?
Oh, I've always involved people, for sure. Like, since the beginning, I've had, and like, not friends or family, because friends and family will always be nice, right? Like, so you can't use them, they're not helpful. I try and involve players to just say, like, and without context, like, I think that's the one of the things that we've done really well this whole time is to not look over their shoulder, to not give them instructional materials, be like, here's what the buttons do, play the game and let me know what you think, and be totally honest. And people who are not interested in being nice, they end up giving us just this amazing feedback, and every single time it happens, we get stuff that we never even considered, just like Saur said. So yeah, it's really important to involve people that don't care about your feelings at that moment, so that you can get the real stuff. And we've done that periodically for the entire duration of development. Like, I've written articles on how I thought this system was so awesome and I was so smart and so clever, and then these players just were like, this is garbage, and this is exactly why. We can tell you why it's garbage. And I'm at this point, not in retrospect, like, I'm enormously grateful for that. Saur was one of those. He was like, his feedback was, here's the thing that I think should happen, and I'm sitting there going, holy shit, I never even considered that. This is fantastic. You know, if it would have happened at the beginning of development, 5 years ago, I'd have been a little butthurt about it. But you grow up and realize they're making the game so much better for it that, yeah, it's something you learn. It's a skill. It's a skill to integrate that feedback.
So it's interesting, like, PlatinumGames doesn't do it. Not that they necessarily need it, but it would be interesting if they did.
Yeah. And I was kind of under the impression that, like, that is an antiquated Japanese game development thing, where it's like they work in silos, and that's kind of their tendency, especially if you've got a studio full of veterans. Like, I think it's more likely to happen where you just don't bother with it. Like, why would you? You know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the end of the thought for them.
Yeah, that does seem like how it is. Definitely, they do seem to they seem to isolate themselves, and in this day and age, in the age of social media and all the rest of it, it's counterproductive. They need to engage a lot more.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I really hope so, seriously. But they don't need help. The thing is, if they just confidently do what they do best, and just allow people out there, give them the opportunity to promote these games, you know what I mean? Do something with your promotion. You will definitely see a difference, and momentum can only build with each release.
Yeah.
What else is in the pipeline for Platinum though? It's just the Turtles game and Scalebound.
Yeah, Scalebound.
I think so.
Those are the only two they've announced.
Yeah.
I was really hoping they were doing something more with Metal Gear, but after what's going on with Konami, who knows what's going on with that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it seems like structurally they've got their main team kind of doing their big game, and then they've got like a group of people on the side doing the license stuff.
Okay.
That's kind of what it seems like, and I have a feeling that it'll stay at least that, because the license games probably bring in good money, you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point of the license game, is just to get a cash injection.
Yeah. Well, he's hoping for something good soon.
Yeah.
Work that magic, man.
Yeah,
and the Ninja Turtles teaser was just such a bummer. There was like 4 seconds of gameplay. You couldn't really see much. Yeah, I was just like, I'm just dying to see what they're actually thinking with this. So, because it's like 4 main characters. It can go in so many different ways. I've got that like platinum excitement going on, but
I've learned to curb my excitement from that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We got a little burned, but I don't think it'll ever really go away, right?
I'm going to be butthurt about this forever.
Oh no! I know how it feels. Seriously, I feel like I jinx series. Seriously, like every series that I just geek out over are always the ones that end up suffering for the same reasons. You know what I mean? It's just like, why?
Well, I think people like us sort of have niche interests, though. It's not that you're jinxing anything. I know, I get that you feel that way, but like, we're naturally attracted to the stuff that is so kind of nutty at its core that we're the ones who are still left over when the crowd has moved on.
Yeah, sure. I used to get so worked up over it, but I've grown up a lot. You know what I mean? I realise I'm the freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're the freaks.
I'm not
just
getting
breaking these
about
things open.
People not liking this stuff, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm the exception.
Yeah.
I do stuff. I play games in ways that other people would... I'm sure if other people watched how I play games, they'd be like, there's something wrong with you, man.
That's not how you play games, man. That's not fun at all. That's probably what they would say. To me, anyway.
No, I'm content just fighting. You know what I mean? Just give me a good fight and I will do that. It could be the same mission over and over and over for weeks on end. Doesn't bother me. I'll just stay on it and I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. That's what I loved. Oh my god, that's what I loved about Aztez. That's what Aztez was so cool. That's what was so cool about it. You can just put it on and just fight for ages and ages and ages. And it for me, it never got old. There's so many different combos you could do with it. It's crazy
that was funny because we didn't intend to just have the one room where like enemies just endlessly spawn, but all of the people in our class of player were like, yeah, I love that. It just goes on forever. Like, just let me do that until I'm dead.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's going to be a mode in the game where it's like, here's a room, enemies never stop coming, go nuts.
Let's go.
Just go nuts, you know.
That is that's when I love it. That is when I love it. There's no distractions. It's just you and the enemies. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Love that.
Give me a good
combat
system,
man.
what kind of enemies to spawn and everything. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, custom room. Heck yeah.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
What?
Like toggle. Yeah, toggle this enemy on and off.
No.
And
yes, do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh my
absolutely.
god. Oh, that is going to be so good. That is going to be
absolutely.
so good.
So there's we've got our arena mode, which is it's 50 fights, just like Bloody Palace is more fights than that, but it's a whole string of fights that we've designed. They're seamless. There's no loading, so it just loads up the next group of guys. You know, once you've defeated the last group, it's got a scoring system and all that. But there's also a custom room, which is just toggle this stuff on and on, turn on a timer, turn it off, whatever you want. Like, because we want people to be able to get something that works for them, whether they're just playing by themselves before they go to sleep or whether they're streaming. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, use custom room to get exactly what you want to do without any bullshit. So, because that's what I always wanted from like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry. Like, put me in a room with the enemies I want to fight and just let me do that. I'll do it 1,000 times if you let me. So please.
This is amazing.
Yeah, why has no one done that before, right?
Why does no one do this? I've wanted this forever.
It's stupid, isn't it?
It's almost an arrogance thing. It's like, they're gonna fight my fights throughout my story. No, fuck you. Like, give the player a room and let them be the boss.
Oh, this is excellent sounding.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think people are gonna dig it.
I'm excited for it now.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
I can send you a build whenever you want, Yosh. Just let me know.
Okay, I'll hit you up for that.
Cool.
Yeah, good idea. Trust me, it's a good idea. That room with the endlessly spawning enemies, I never get bored playing it. It's so much fun. So much fun.
Too kind. Thank you.
Stuff. Well, I guess that pretty much is it. Nothing else to talk about, yeah? I mean, realistically, we can keep talking forever, but...
Right.
But real life gets in the way, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Oh, gosh.
So was there anything else you guys wanted to plug? I know you've been plugging, like, Aztez and everything throughout the entire thing.
No, but... I'd plug Yoshesk and Saur, but people listening are already gonna know what those are, so...
Anything from you, Saur?
Oh, man. Me, I'm just big up yourself, Yoshesk, and big up Aztez, big yourself up, Ben. I've got stuff that's happening in the background. I'm working really hard, and hopefully soon I'll have something to show everyone.
Look forward to everything.
Thank you.
Subscribe to these guys' channels. Actually, yeah, Ben, you have a channel.
Yeah.
Or follow him on Twitter, whatever. Keep tabs on everyone. Stuff is happening. This is all very exciting. I want to thank you both for being on here. It's been an amazing chance talking to you both.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.